Welcome to Get on the Ark. I'm Darren Conrad, your host. For those that don't know who we are or what Get on the Ark is, God actually woke me up from a dream and he audibly told me to get on the ark. And I'm like, Lord, what do you mean I'm on the ark? And he wanted me to share testimonies about him and to show you how God is doing extraordinary and miraculous things in ordinary people's lives all across the world. And there's a storm coming. It's a spiritual storm with dark days ahead for all of humanity. And just as God warned Noah to build an ark to save his family from the coming flood, all across the globe, God is calling his people out of darkness, out of complacency, and into a relationship with Jesus to save us from the storm that is coming to our generation. So welcome to Get on the Ark. It's an honor to have Mike Hammond. This episode is titled Relieving Pain and Changing Lives, and Single Relief founder, Michael Hammond. He's going to share his incredible story behind the mission and the revolutionary pain relief and how he's helping people and bettering people's lives. And so welcome, Mike.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
We're excited to tell people about this product. And I love what your show is all about. I think we do need to build more arcs. We need to get more people into our. I mean, I think of Isaiah, right, where he says we need to plant our stakes and build our tents, and we need to create a place of safety. The world's getting nuts. So
yeah, it is. We need more of him, for sure.
We do, for sure.
You're really fortunate. So you grew up as a Christian and a follower, so you don't know any different.
No, I grew up, honestly, I don't even remember a single week that my dad and mom didn't take me to church. So now, doesn't mean I was the best kid, right? I remember days when I would come to church with McDonald's.
Yeah.
But I was there, right? And they did the thing, and this is why I think it's so important. I think it gives you a set of principles that you can govern the rest of your life by. And so I think for all those parents, even when your kids seem to not appreciate it fully for what it is, it gives them a set of standards and principles that governs the rest of their lives. And I think that's what people are missing nowadays. And I mean, you see that more and more every day, but I think we all need a little bit more of Jesus in our lives, for sure. A lot more forgiveness, a lot more love. So for sure.
Amen. Yeah. So tell us about Signal Relief. Like, what I know you have a bunch of companies and you're super successful in all your endeavors. So tell us a little about how you came to Signal Relief. And
dude, this is literally maybe the coolest product. So I was just telling you right before this, I think I have 11 active companies right now. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I moved to Idaho. So most of my businesses were built in Utah. And then I moved to Idaho to teach. They wanted me to teach entrepreneur class up here at the university. And I was like, oh, that'd be fun. And I literally went nuts. Two semesters in. It wasn't that the students didn't they loved learning from an entrepreneur, but just the sitting in a room, I couldn't handle it. And so I already had 3 or 4 more ideas of things I wanted to do. And Darren, you kind of understand this, but my brain's just always going. And so I have a lot of companies. I've done a lot of stuff that way. This is the coolest product of anything I've ever done. And that's what I can tell you. I still remember Thanksgiving 2021. I got a text from my CEO and he said, "Happy Thanksgiving. I just want to tell you how grateful I am for this job." He goes, "So this is a guy I always hire over my guys. I always have people running my companies that could be doing way better things. Like I overhire. I like to overhire. And this guy had actually already retired doing nursing homes. He had like 30 nursing homes across the US and had just sold them off. And he graduated from Columbia University. And I mean, he's a smart guy. And I was like, well, you need to come do Signal. And I showed him this product and he came in and then my text that I got Thanksgiving Day, I'll never forget it because I've spent my entire career wanting to have a job that when I woke up in the morning, I was excited to go to work. And he goes, I feel like for the first time in my life, I have that with Signal. Wow. And that's so lucky when you get in a situation where you are excited to go to work every day. And it's not because you're making money. You know that now as an entrepreneur. it's mission driven, and it's when you really feel like you're making a dent in people's lives. I mean, up until I was doing this, the best 2 years of my life was when I did a Christian mission, because you're bringing people to Christ, you're changing lives.
Yeah.
And I feel like all the way up until this company, um, it feels like I'm on another mission, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's just because of the lives we're affecting. I mean, I didn't realize until this product was built how many people hit 70, 75. They've tried everything. Everything's starting to hurt. They're using a cane. Their back hurts. They can't go out with they don't want to go out with the kids to the park because it's painful and it's hard. And there's a lot of people that live life in that area, and they're just like, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. And the reality is there is something you can do. And the first thing I'd want to say to all of your listeners is, this is not like any normal patch. This is crazy. I call it alien technology. People are like, don't call it that. But dude, to me, it's like alien technology, because this doesn't exist up until when this was built. But we're able to turn discomfort off in a matter of minutes and do it better than most drugs and opioids. And so I actually think it's better than all of them, but who knows, right? Like there's a place for everything, but this is crazy. And so what it is it's an antenna. And how I came across this is, my first company I ever built was a large retailer. We were called Dish One Satellite. And by 2012, we were the largest retailer in the United States. We got bought by Dish, just selling satellite. And so Dish Network bought us and just brought us in house. And when that happened, I got a call from one of my buddies from MBA school, Daniel Marriott. And he said, Mike, I heard you just sold your business, dude. You got to come invest in this tech I'm building. This is crazy. So I went out to Utah, Heber, Utah at the time, and I flew out there from Denver with I can't. It was like 6 or 8 engineers from Dish,
Wow.
and we wanted to check out this antenna technology. And what it was is, they were hired by they were basically working for the Department of Defense, and their job was to try and shrink. When guys were deployed, like Navy SEALs, there was always one guy that had to carry a 5-foot antenna and an 80-pound backpack, like everywhere they would go, right? Jump out of a plane, 80-pound backpack. It was cumbersome. So they were like, how do we shrink this down? Well, the best way to do that was to shift it to work on electrical microcurrents instead of magnetic. You can go 300% farther with about a tenth the amount of power, and the antenna can shrink down to about this size from 5 feet. So that's a big difference. So
Yeah.
these guys in Heber actually did it. So what they did is they pointed 2 cell phone towers across the city at each other, and they pinged a 1 and a 0. And we timed how fast it went across the city. And then they had 2 little credit cards hooked to a 9-volt battery on the same, and they were on the cell phone towers, and they pinged them off those, and it was 300% faster. I was like, no way, that's so awesome. So I invested. I actually put just under $1 million into that tech, and for me, it was just passive investment. What happened though is, when they were putting the antenna on the soldiers, they noticed that every time they touched the antenna, it started picking up current, and it would fluctuate. So when they were reading it, they're like, where is all the current coming from? Well, none of us are doctors, so we didn't realize the body works on micro electrocurrents, same exact frequencies. So what we noticed is, once we figured out that antenna was interacting with the body's own frequencies, I got with Daniel, and we basically figured out how to create an antenna that would basically work for what we're talking about. And that's basically relieving discomfort. When people are hurting, when they have inflammation in their body, this is the answer. And so, because we're so non-invasive, we don't have to put anything into the body. We're not even a TINS unit where you're shocking your nerves and scrambling them, right? So they don't work for a few hours and then it comes back. This doesn't do any of that. It's completely non-invasive. And so it's a health and wellness product, which is why we can't say the word pain. We're not a medical device. But we deal with discomfort and things that cause people to hurt, and this probably helps more than anything I've ever come across. And so, whether it's your head, neck, shoulders, knees, what basically happens, I'm going to explain it real simple. people understand energy best with, like, we were all taught about lightning rods in school when we were young, right? So
Yeah.
lightning hits a house, it burns up. But if you put a lightning rod on the other end of the roof, the lightning will go to the lightning rod and into the ground, because energy goes to the path of least resistance, and then they can ground it, right?
Right.
So what happens here is when your body starts to hurt, your nerves just start firing and they create energy, and that energy goes up your neural pathway and hits the brain. The more energy that hits the brain, the more pain you feel, right? When you stick the patch just on top of or above wherever you've hurt, that energy actually, as soon as it hits the patch, for the majority of people, it's easier for that energy to go into the patch instead of up to the brain. And so we basically created a highway or a path for that energy to leave the body. So what's so cool now is if you pull up that PDF I sent you, um, this is a thermography. This is the best way we've been able to show what happens with the patch. So the top one's a back injury. And so you can see that when they hurt their back, it's full of heat. White's the hottest, then red. And so you can see that kind of signals where all the inflammation is. The second picture is only 40 minutes after putting the patch on. And the third picture is 3 days after putting the patch on. So you
Wow.
can see that in 40 minutes, not only does it stop hurting, but look how much inflammation leaves the area. And the great thing is, and then I've figured all this out later, right? The body doesn't heal when there's inflammation. So if you get rid of the inflammation, then the body starts the healing process. And so we speed up recovery. We speed up a lot of that stuff. We've done a bunch of clinicals. Our one IRB and then 4 other clinicals all basically say the exact same thing. The 85% of people it's going to work on, they're going to have an average decrease in pain of 60% or more. And so we've seen that across all elements. We even did a thing with the Endometriosis Society. They had, I think, 80 girls try it out, and same thing, 85% of them, and it was an average decrease of 40% with endometriosis, which is crazy, right? And
Yeah.
so when you're dealing with discomfort and things that hurt, this is just, I don't know why someone wouldn't try this, because it it changes your life. Your wife came up to me at one of these events and actually used them. So why don't you tell
Yeah.
everyone what happened there? So I'd love to
Yeah.
hear about that.
Like she was struggling with pain in her hip, like sciatic pain, and I mean, really struggled with walking. And we just got back from our honeymoon, and it was the discomfort that she had was horrible. And we went to the conference in Tulsa, and it was like, wow, let's try this. And she put the patch on, and within you know 15-20 minutes, she didn't have any pain, and she hasn't had pain since. And that was a few weeks ago. So
Yeah.
she's just
Dude,
like, wow,
it's
these
it's
these, these things are awesome. So
it works just like that for almost anything. And so I sent you one of those videos that maybe you'll be able to play it later so people can see it. But so I'll tell you what happened to me. So I had 2 things that just blew my mind, changed everything about what I thought this patch could do. The first one, I was in a hospital, and a lady that was in there, she had a element where everything she moved on her whole body would be 10 out of 10 pain. It originated when they hit a moose in Provo Canyon, and it destroyed her vertebrae. And then 3 years later, basically, she was bedridden now, and it was everything. And
wow.
so this particular ailment, they don't even know what the cause of it is, but a lot of people have it. And so I just told her to put this in between her shoulder blades, because this is what was going through my mind. Let me explain this. This is crazy. I'm not like, so from the tech standpoint, when we switched to doing an electrical antenna, traditional antennas are magnetic. So you point them in a direction, and then you put power, and the more power you put behind it, the farther a signal goes. But you're able to point to, you want to hit that mountain, you push the signal to the mountain, right?
Right.
Electrical's omnidirectional. It's like a light bulb, so it's everywhere. So the issue you have when you switch to an electrical microcurrent antenna is noise, because now when you're just pushing it in one direction, you can avoid everything around you. But when you're now like a light bulb, you're picking up all the noise around you. And what we noticed basically is when there was too much noise, we could never get a signal from A to B. So we had to figure out how to build something that would ignore certain frequencies to be able to just like get rid of that noise. Um, I was thinking maybe this issue this lady's having is because there's too much noise in the body, things start to break down. Who knows? So I told her to put it in between her shoulder blades. Well, day one, Vicky texts me and she's like, "Man, I don't know if this is in my head, but I think I might be feeling a little better." I was like, "Just keep it on. Let me know what happens." Day two, she's like, "I'm definitely starting to feel better." Day three, she called me crying. She's like, "It's gone. I don't hurt anymore. I woke up with no pain," which is crazy, right? And so I was like, "No way." Well, the problem is we've had 4 or 5 people email us with the same issue, and their stories are all the exact same. 3 days later, I woke up and all of a sudden I didn't hurt. It's so interesting.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, this thing is bigger deal than I actually thought. Then what happened is I went to a football game. And when I was in high school, I had one of my best buddies. So like you have your 5 or 6 friends you hang out with. This was one of my 5 or 6
Yeah.
best friends when I was in high school. When we were in our 20s, he was actually working for a landscape log company, and he had the drawstring at the bottom of those MC Hammer pants back in 2000.
Yeah.
And the wind was blowing and it blew that string into a stump grinder and sucked his leg through the stump grinder. So
Oh,
he lost his leg to the knee. And he went back to California and he was a nurse in a prison, actually. And so that's what he was doing. And I didn't know he'd moved back. So I go to a football game. I moved to Idaho to teach. And I'm in a football game and my kid's scoring a bunch of touchdowns. And after the game, Matt goes through the line and says, "Hey," because he noticed my kid had Hammond on the back of his jersey. He goes, "Hey, are you a Hammond? Are you from Rexburg?" He goes, "No, we just moved from Utah." And he goes, "Oh, okay. Do you know Mike?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's my dad." He's like, "No way. That's my best friend in high school." So I meet up with Matt. Well, it just so happened that it was the first day that I had these off the press. We weren't even selling them. It was like we're demoing them, making different versions of it. And I had some with me. So I was like, "Matt, you got to come to my office and try this." Because when I talked to him, I'm like, "How you doing?" He's like, "Not great." "Why?" He goes, "My leg hurts." He's like, "It hurts." And it's the only thing I think about. And I go, "What are you doing to help?" So he goes, "Well, I just had $100,000 pump installed in my stomach, pumps morphine to my spine." He's like, "That's the best thing I've had so far for it." And I said, "Well, I want you to come to my office and try a patch." Well, he's a nurse. So he's like, "Patch isn't going to do anything. Like, I'm in the medical field. I've tried everything. This is stupid." He's like, "I don't really have time." I told him like Vicky's story. That's what got him to come. I was like, "Dude, listen what just happened with Vicky." He's like, "Oh," I'm like, "Just try it. Just come to the office and try it." So he comes to my office and I stuck this outside of his prosthetic. So you know how the leg goes down in the prosthetic?
yeah.
You just have to get into the electrical grid. So I actually went on the outside of his prosthetic, that sleeve basically that comes up inside the prosthetic, that rubbery sleeve. I went on the outside of that sleeve. In 10 seconds, his shoulders were shaking. I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Dude, it doesn't hurt." It was the first time in 16 years he didn't hurt. What was crazy is I turned around and his wife and his 2 twins that were playing football were all crying at the same exact time he was within seconds because they'd never seen their dad out of pain ever.
Wow.
And it's crazy that it can happen in 10 seconds. And so I feel like Vicky and Matt were a godsend because it showed me and Zach at the time, that was my CEO at the time, what this thing really could do for people. And it just became a mission at that point.
Wow.
What eventually ended up happening is Daniel, who owned the manufacturing plant that built them,
Hmm.
he ended up falling in love with this product so much that he said, "Hey, man, I want to have my brother come run this factory," because he owned majority of it. And he goes, "I want to come be the CEO of Signal." And so since that time, we've transitioned Zach out and we transitioned Dan, the guy that builds the patch, in. And he's running it right now. But dude, it's just a game changer and you really affect people's lives. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And I know everyone's looking at this and saying, "Yeah, right." And I tell these stories just to motivate people to try it because we have you notice this, Darren. We have a money back guarantee, 45 days. Every story I've told you has been like 10 minutes to 3 days max, right? To know
Right.
if it works. And we give people 45 days or they get their money back. And so it's not that we're trying to make a buck. I'm just really want to encourage people, if you're hurting and you're one of those people who just thought you have to just deal with it, you may not have to deal with it. I mean, if you can take an average decrease of 60% or more, that's game changer for someone who's 6 or 7 out of 10, right? Hurting all the time. And they go to a 2, all of a sudden it's like you don't have to think about it anymore. You can start
Well,
hiking and doing your stuff. And that's what's happened with Matt. Matt's actually, he bought a horse, he rides with me, he's hunting with me now, he's hiking basically back in the mountains again. Like he's
wow.
living life again. He started dirt biking again.
Wow.
But when you got rid of what crippled him, it changed his life. Which brings me to that video you have, which is the veteran. And
Yeah.
he was a homeless vet that was on the road. So we're right at Yellowstone National Park. So we're on the border of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. My construction company is actually in Jackson, Wyoming, which is just over the hill from us. And so this vet's at Walmart and he has a sign. He's asking for money to get to the vet hospital, which I think's Bozeman. And what I saw is I was in line coming out of the Walmart gas pump and I saw a car hold $20 out their window and he stood up and then he grabbed his leg and sat back down and didn't go get it and they drove off. So I was like, okay, this guy is obviously hurting pretty bad. So I ran to the office and grabbed all my customer service people and said, hey, you guys need to come with me. I want you to see this because I knew what would happen, Darren, because I used it on Matt. So this was my second guy. I was like, but I just saw what I did for Matt. So I was like, you guys need to come see this real life because it's game changer. So they all come with us. We go over to that vet. And I think it was a 4-minute period, but we've kind of condensed that video to 40 seconds. So we've cut out a lot of stuff. But we go ask him, we said, hey, how are you? He goes, I'm not good. What happened? Submarine accident in Vietnam. He was a mechanic and there was an explosion. He lost his leg. Okay, how bad is it? He goes, you don't understand. I haven't slept one day in 30 years. And that's when you realize why he's homeless right there. You're like, no wonder he's consumed with it, right? And so what you see in that video is we actually put the patch on his leg and within seconds, he's like, it doesn't hurt anymore. When what they did cut out, I wish they didn't, is we said, why don't you try walking? And he goes, no, you don't understand. I can't walk. So even after it just stopped hurting, he's like, no, you don't get it. I can't walk. And then he got up and he started to walk. And what you see in that video is he takes like 3 steps and turns around. And then tears just come down both eyes and he salutes us. And
Wow.
it's gone. It changed his life. And that's what's just dude, when I can do that for people, it's just a game changer. And I think a lot of people are praying all the time. And I think that I've always believed this, Darren. I believe that 90% of God's prayers are answered by other people. Um, that's why we always need to be tuned into the spirit and listening, right? Because he uses us to answer people's prayers and to help people. We're the angels he sends.
Yes.
And um, I remember one day, actually, this was recent. I went to my wife's building an indoor pickleball facility in our backyard in our lower horse pasture where my cows used to be. So I had to tear the fence out. So I had to go take all my cows to the slaughterhouse because I didn't have anywhere to put them until the fence was rebuilt. And I got to get the building put up to rebuild the fence. So I took them to get basically slaughtered and we were just going to give the meat to all my family members. So I dropped them off and this was like 3 hours away, but to understand the craziness of this, you have to understand what it's like to have a 30-foot horse trailer behind you when you're driving. You don't turn around in the middle of the road. You don't back up and try to go back to something. It's just too hard.
Right.
So I'm over in Soda Springs, dropped him off. I'm coming back off the exit and I passed this little gas station and it hit me so hard, Darren. You need to go back and eat. I'm like, dude, I don't want to eat. It was Burger King. Like, I hate Burger. Like, no, I'm not eating at Burger King. He's like, no, you need to go back and eat at Burger King. I'm like, oh, dude, that means I have to do like a 20-point turn with my horse trailer to turn back around on that road to go back, right? So I'm like, flip. So I go back and I walk into this gas station and I get in line and there's 5 people in line at the little Burger King. You know how those are in the gas stations. And there's a guy in line with a cane and a prosthetic leg. And what I noticed, he was right in front of me, is 2 people ordered and he was one person away and he got out of line and sat down in a chair. So I was like, hey man, are you okay? And he goes, no, my leg's just killing me. And I go, do you want me to order for you? And in my head, I'm like, that's why I was supposed to come to this dumb place, because I'm not going to eat. I'm just going to order for him. I was like, dude, that would be so awesome if you could order for me. So I went and ordered some food for him, got his order, brought it back to him, sat down with him at the table, just talked to him while he was eating. And I just asked him a couple questions. I said, how you been? He goes, man, life's been really hard. And I go, that's tough. And I go, what happened to your leg? And it was actually uh, Iraq war, basically. He lost his leg. And I said, are you married? And he goes, I was for 20 years, but I just got divorced. And I'm sorry, what happened? He goes, honestly, it was miserable for my wife. He's like, I'm always cranky. I'm always hurting. I'm always short fused. He's like, I don't blame her, but it's so sad. It's been so hard for me to lose her, but I'm hard to live with right now. And I said, that's tough. And then I said, so do you mind if I go grab one of my patches and see if it can help your leg? And he's like, yeah, fine. So I ran out to my truck, grab a patch, come back, put it on his leg. 15 seconds after it was on his leg, tears were coming down both his eyes. But what hit me hard is he goes, you don't understand. And I go, what? And he goes, dude, I actually was wanting to end my life this morning because I'm just so sick of dealing with this. And he goes, I got on my knees and I prayed and I said, God, take me today and end this because I can't stand it anymore. Or please do something to take this away, but I can't live like this anymore. And it's just so crazy, dude, that he was in that gas station right at that mere point in time, right? And dude, it's just like whenever you're used, it's like, yeah, we all have to be listening because I think all of us are in situations like this where
Yes.
God uses us to answer people's desperate prayers.
Yes.
But again, dude, I have to come back to this patch is just a godsend for a lot of people. And it's not me anymore. I don't have pain anymore in my body, but there's a lot of people who actually do and who are hurting. And dude, this is the craziest tech I've ever experienced. I just think people need to try it. Whether it's your back, neck, shoulders, knees, if you're in pain and you're having a hard time, if you're discomfort's what I'm supposed to say. Sorry, if you're dealing with discomfort and you're hurting, this is just it's an amazing product that can give you your life back
We go
and
to
can do it. Yeah.
signalrelief.com.
Yes. And so you just go to signalrelief.com and we have multiple products. We have this brand new one that just came out a few days ago. It's a back brace. And it's actually a back brace for support, but has 2.5 times as much technology in it. It's a big area, and the bigger it is, the better it works because the more space you have, the more energy it can absorb. So this is probably our best product we've ever built. And anyone who's dealing with backaches or who's just hurting in their core area, this is something you've got to try. It's crazy. It works so well. We have this other one that we built that you saw, that it's the foot one. These are actually insoles that just go in your shoes, and then you just put your foot in your sock. It doesn't have to be on your skin. You just put your foot back in your shoe. And I mean, again, we don't treat and cure disease. I can't say but if your feet hurt, you have to try these because they're unreal. Life changing for a lot of people. This is our main core product that you can basically move all around the body. And then we have these Jovi bands, which are awesome for like inside your ball cap if you have a lot of headaches. You can put it inside the ring inside your cap and just put your cap on, and unbelievable. But they're amazing, and you can wear them 24/7 a day. And dude, the other thing we haven't even talked about is these last a year. You can wear this every day for a year. It's so affordable. It's actually
Yeah.
like 30 cents a day
Yeah.
to have relief, which is crazy. And so I just encourage people to do it. And then, and Darren, I don't know, what was the code? Did they give you a code for your
Yeah.
people?
I think the ARC or just
The
ARC.
ARC.
Just ARC.
ARC, ARK.
ARK.
Yeah. So if you go to the website, we have whatever's going on there. They get an additional 10% off using ARK in the footnotes. And so they can use ARK and actually get an additional discount off of everything that we're doing. Now, our website struggles on where they put that code. You actually have to put everything in your cart and go to checkout, and then it has the discount code. They're fixing that, but it's not fixed. But when you get to the checkout area, you can actually put the discount code ARC in, and then they get an extra discount that that they don't get anywhere else. And so, yeah, we're excited and encourage your listeners to give it a try. It's a cool product.
Well, Mike, thank you for getting on the ARC. Thank you for sharing Signal Relief. I think it's a game changer. It's a great product. I can't wait to have more or share more testimonies about how it's changed people's lives. And I love when you talked about the guy at Burger King. You know, like you're like, I don't want to go here, and you know, you had to turn around with the trailer and go. And it's funny when I think about my life and the places I don't want to go or that I resist the most are exactly the places that God wants me to be at. And it's always obvious after the fact. You know, when I wanted to go, didn't want to go somewhere, then I go and I'm like, oh, okay, obviously God wanted me here. But that's a great
Yeah.
story. So, but
It's
anyway,
awesome.
thanks again for getting on the ARC. Thanks for
Thank you,
watching.
Darren.
And there's a couple
Yep.
things you can do. Please, after watching the show, you know, share this with someone that needs to hear it, and let God do His thing, because you know there's so many people out there that are suffering from pain. So please, or from discomfort, and so please send it out, and you know, please like and share this episode. And if you have a story and you'd like to be on our show, we'd love to have you. So, did you have one more thing, Mike?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks again, brother, for being on the show.
No problem. See you.